Before I die, there are 6 things I need to warn you about, because I have buried everyone I ever loved, and I now know exactly what destroys a life. I am 115 years old, and if you ignore this, you won't make the same mistake twice, because you won't get that chance. The room was silent, the kind of silence that doesn't just sit in the air, it presses against your chest. I sat beside her fragile bed, staring at a woman who had outlived time itself. Her skin was paper thin, her hands trembling, but her eyes were not old. They were heavy with memories, regrets, truths no one dares to speak out loud. People called her the woman who refused to die, but that night she didn't look immortal. She looked tired, not tired of life, tired of remembering it. She slowly turned her head toward me. "Come closer," she whispered. Her voice was weak, but it carried something sharp, something urgent. I leaned in, and then she said something I will never forget for the rest of my life. Longevity is not a blessing. Pause. If you spend it watching your own mistakes repeat in the lives of others. A chill ran down my spine. I didn't speak. I couldn't. Because deep down, I knew. This wasn't going to be a normal conversation. This was going to be a warning. "I wasn't always like this," she said. I laughed. I loved. I believed in forever. Her eyes drifted toward the window, as if the past was standing right outside, waiting. I was 17 when I made the first mistake. Pause. And that mistake quietly destroyed everything. She closed her eyes for a moment. A tear slipped down, but she didn't wipe it, maybe because some tears deserve to fall. She looked at me again. "Listen carefully, because this is the first thing you must stop doing. Pause. Slow. Stop ignoring your inner voice." I knew from the very beginning something felt wrong, but I stayed because I was afraid of being alone, afraid of disappointing others, afraid of choosing myself. Her fingers tightened slightly around the blanket. That small voice inside you, it whispers before life screams. Pause, and if you ignore it long enough, it stops whispering, and life starts breaking you instead. I felt that, not just heard it, felt it. I married a man I knew wasn't right for me, she continued, and I told myself, it will get better. Pause. But life doesn't reward denial. It punishes it. She took a slow breath, as if every word cost her something. The second thing, pause. Stop waiting for the right time. There is no perfect moment, no perfect situation, no perfect version of you that suddenly becomes brave. I waited to leave. I waited to speak. I waited to choose myself. Her voice cracked slightly, and while I was waiting, my life was leaving. She turned her head slightly toward me. You think time is something you have. Pause. But time is something you're spending, and once it's gone, it doesn't ask for permission to take everything with it. The room felt heavier now. Every word she spoke felt like it was peeling something inside me. I wanted to ask her, what happened next? Did you ever fix it? Did you ever find happiness? But before I could say anything, she spoke again. There are still 4 more things. Pause. Deep, slow. 4 more mistakes that cost me people, dreams, and pieces of my soul. She looked directly into my eyes. For the first time, I felt like she wasn't just talking to me. She was talking to anyone who would ever hear this. If you don't stop them in time, you won't lose your life. You'll lose yourself while still living. She closed her eyes slowly and whispered, "Do you want to know what the third mistake was?" "Perfect. Now we go deeper, darker, and more emotional. This is where retention spikes. Here is." Her eyes were still closed. For a moment, I thought she had fallen asleep, but then she spoke softly. "Third, pause. Stop living for other people." Her fingers moved slightly, as if they were holding on to something invisible. "I spent half my life trying to be who everyone else needed me to be. A good daughter, a perfect wife, a silent woman." She let out a weak, bitter laugh, and in the process, I disappeared. The room felt colder, not physically, but emotionally. I said yes when I wanted to scream no. I stayed quiet when my heart was breaking. I smiled when I was dying inside. She slowly opened her eyes and looked straight at me. "Tell me, what kind of life is that?" I had no answer, because deep down, I knew people do this every day. "You think sacrificing yourself makes you strong," she continued, "but slowly, it makes you empty." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "And one day, you wake up, pause, and you don't even recognize the person in the mirror." A long silence filled the room. Then she took a shaky breath. "The fourth mistake," pause, heavier tone. "This one broke me the most." She turned her face slightly toward the window again, as if the past was standing there, waiting to be remembered. "There was someone," pause, "someone I truly loved." My heart skipped. This was different. Her voice changed. Softer, but more painful. "He wasn't my husband," pause. "He was the one I should have chosen." The air shifted. Everything suddenly felt more real. "We met years after my marriage. By accident." "But some meetings are not accidents." Her lips trembled slightly, and for the first time in my life, I felt seen. She paused, let the silence speak. "But I was afraid of society, afraid of judgment, afraid of breaking the life I had already built." Her eyes filled with tears. "So I let him go." I felt something tighten in my chest. "He waited," she whispered, "for years. And I..." Pause. I kept looking back, but never walking toward him. A tear rolled down the side of her face. "And one day..." Pause. Slow, heavy. "He stopped waiting." Silence. Not just in the room, but inside me. "That's when I learned," she continued, barely audible, "if someone lets you go," pause, "and you still keep holding on, you're not loving them. You're imprisoning yourself." Her voice broke completely now. "I held on to his memory for 40 years. 40 years. Of what ifs. Of regret. Of conversations that only existed in my head." She looked at me again, and this time, there was something terrifying in her eyes. "Do you know what's worse than losing someone?" Pause. "Spending your entire life missing a version of life that never happened." I couldn't breathe properly. Every word felt like it was pulling something out of me. I finally whispered, "Did you ever see him again?" She stayed silent for a long time. Then slowly, she shook her head. "No." Pause. "But I saw his grave." That hit harder than anything. I stood there, with all the words I never said, all the love I never gave, and for the first time, I realized it wasn't time that took him away from me. It was my fear. Her breathing became heavier now, Slower. There are still 2 more things, she whispered. 2 final mistakes, pause, that people don't realize until it's too late to fix anything. She looked at me one last time, eyes filled with urgency. If you don't listen carefully now, pause, you won't just regret your life. You'll understand it when you can no longer change it. Her hand slowly reached out, as if she was trying to stop time itself. Do you want to know the last 2? Now we deliver the most powerful, unforgettable ending. This is where the story becomes viral and deeply emotional. Her hand was still slightly raised in the air, shaking, as if she was trying to hold on to something that was already slipping away. The 5th thing, pause, very slow. Stop taking time for granted. Her voice was weaker now, but somehow more dangerous. You think you have time, she whispered, to fix things, to say sorry, to tell people you love them. She slowly shook her head. You don't. The room felt suffocating. I lost my mother, she continued, and the last thing I said to her was, I'll talk to you later. A tear fell. This time, she tried to wipe it, but her hand trembled too much. There was no later. Silence, heavy, crushing. I lost friends without closure. I lost moments I thought would come back. She looked straight into my eyes. Time doesn't knock twice. Pause. It doesn't warn you. It just takes and takes and takes. Her breathing became uneven, and one day, pause, you're left with nothing except memories that hurt because you didn't value them when you had them. She closed her eyes again. For a moment, I thought this was it. But then, with the last bit of strength she had, she spoke. The last thing, pause, almost a whisper, the most dangerous one. Stop postponing your life. I leaned closer, barely breathing. I kept saying, one day I'll be happy. One day I'll live for myself. One day everything will make sense. Her lips trembled. But one day, pause, never came. Her eyes slowly opened. Barely. Do you know what people misunderstand about life? I stayed silent. They think life is long. Pause. But life is just a collection of moments. And if you keep delaying those moments, you don't get a longer life. You get an empty one. Her breathing was now fragile, uneven, fading. I had dreams, she whispered. So many dreams. But I kept pushing them forward. For responsibilities. For fear. For people who didn't even stay. A long pause. And now, pause. I don't regret what I did. I regret what I didn't do. That line felt like it shattered something inside me. She slowly tightened her grip on my hand. If you remember anything from me, pause. Remember this. Life doesn't destroy you all at once. It slowly disappears in the things you ignore, in the chances you delay, in the truths you avoid. Her voice dropped to almost nothing. And by the time you realize it, pause. There's nothing left to save. Her hand went still. The room became silent again. But this time, it wasn't peaceful. It was final. I sat there, frozen, holding the hand of someone who had just given me 115 years of truth in a few minutes. And then I looked at her face one last time and whispered, I understand now. Pause. But will I actually change? because everyone hears the warning. But almost no one believes it's about them.